Hi guys, my name is Eric Poloni. I'm doing this video today for my class at Sonoran Desert Institute, my AR-15 Advanced Armor course. We're going to be going over the cycle of operations. To me, the cycle of operations is very important. Uh, as an armorer, it was always very annoying when soldiers brought you a firearm and was like, "Hey, my gun's not going bang." Okay, explain to me exactly what's going wrong. Is it not feeding? Is it not like it just is? It's not kicking the rounds out. You're just getting double feeds and double feeds and double feeds. Like what's the issue here? And without a good understanding of the cycle of operations, soldiers were not able to explain that to me. It drove me absolutely nuts. So I'm going to walk you through that today. I'm going to be using a lot of snap caps, dummy rounds. All the firearms I'm going to be using for the demonstration have been cleared. And I've got a couple different firearms I'm going to show you guys with. So let me set that up. All right, so I've seen the cycle of operations explained a few different ways. Some people start with firing, some people start with feeding. I'm going to start with feeding. It's the way I learned. The cycle of operations is feeding, chambering, locking, firing, unlocking, extracting, and ejecting. So that first step is feeding. For the magazine here, loaded up with dummy rounds. As the bolt goes forward, it's going to strip that round from the magazine and feed it up into the chamber area. As it's going into the chamber, you're encountering the chambering step. And that's just the bolt pushing that round further in the chamber. As it's pushing that round into the chamber, there's a few things going on. The extractor claw here will, once the shoulder or the neck or whatever cartridge you're using reaches the front of the chamber, the bolt will then push this extractor claw up over the rim. At least on the AR. There are some feeding mechanisms that's a controlled feed mechanism that during the feeding operation, the rim of the cartridge will slide up into and underneath that extractor claw. Once it reaches the forwardmost position, for this it's a direct blowback AKV. It's in a little 9mm AK. For locked, for this it's just the spring tension from the recoil spring holding that bolt in place. It's just direct blowback action. For other firearms, like the AR, for example, the locking is the cam pin itself rotating in that channel, rotating the bolt, and these teeth will lock into the barrel extension on the barrel. Just those teeth there, and that's just that rotating action. Just that slight little bit of rotation locks it in place. So that's locking. Other firearms like the actual AK-47, stuff like that, they also have rotating bolts, similar to the AR or that style. You also have falling block lockings, like on the FNFAL. That is the bolt carrier pushes the bolt down into a block, and that locks the bolt in place. Gas pulls the bolt back, or bolt carrier back, which then lifts up the bolt, which allows it to be pulled rearward. So that's just a few different ways that firearms can lock. The firing step. So with the firearm in the fire position, I'll rotate out of the way the trigger here so that the trigger can be actuated. With it on safe, it blocks that trigger. On the AK, it's this hook here that acts as your sear. So like on AR, there's an actual sear on the front of the trigger nose that interacts with the sear on the actual hammer, the circular portion of the hammer here. The sear will lock on the little notch in there. The trigger pulls it out of the way, and then it allows that hammer to rotate upwards. So once the trigger's pulled for the firing step, that hammer will come up and strike this firing pin on the rear of the bolt here. On an AR, that firing pin is right there, and it's the same thing. Just a hammer, smacking the back of that, pushing this firing pin so it retreats from the bolt. So firing, at that point, round will go down range, gas pressure will build up in the gas system, or in this case, just the pressure of the cartridge itself. We'll start pushing the bolt carrier rearwards. On an AR, it'll push the bolt carrier rearwards. On this, it's going to push the bolt backwards. And that starts your unlocking step. So on an AR, as the bolt carrier is pulled rearward, it's going to rotate that cam pin again, unlocking the teeth from the barrel extension, and that will allow the bolt to continue pulling and start the extraction. So the extraction process is just, there's a claw on the front of the bolt face. So on this one, it's this claw right here. And that's just going to pull on the rim of the cartridge, pull it from the chamber. So that's your extraction. Ejection for this type of firearm, AKs have this like shark fin set up here. There you go. Right there. Now the claw pulling on the rim here pulls it back fast enough that the shark fin hits the opposite side, and you get this twisting motion, and that kicks it out of the action there. So that's extracting, ejecting, and then you have the cocking portion. So as the bolt is coming rearward, it is also pushing that hammer back down so that it catches either on the disconnector here, or if you're fast enough to get that trigger reset or forward, it'll actually catch on the hook or the sear of the trigger itself. But that's just the bolt carrier pushing that hammer rearward so it catches. At that point, you just start the whole process over again. On other firearms, like the AR, extraction is going to be accomplished with that claw, like I talked about. Ejection is going to be with this little captive pin here. It's under spring tension. So as the bolt is coming rearward out of the chamber, once the round clears the chamber, that spring tension pin there just kicks that round out. So you don't have to worry about the speed of your bolt having to kick that round out. Even if you just pull that AR bolt to the rear slowly, as soon as that round clears the chamber, that pin is going to kick it out. So just an example of how that applies to understanding different malfunctions. So right now, I have caused a double feed, a type of double feed. So there's a round trying to be fed in the chamber, and there's a round currently still in the chamber. So I'd have soldiers come up to me and they'd be like, hey, I'm getting double feeds. Okay, what type of double feed? Was it 2 rounds coming out of the magazine trying to feed in at once? Or was it a round that failed to get pulled from the chamber? If you understand your cycle of operations, so where it comes into play, you understand that it wasn't a feeding issue, it was an extraction issue, meaning the claw didn't grab onto that rim of the cartridge and pull it out. That helps you as the customer, the armorer, the gunsmith, helps you understand and narrow down the parts you need to start looking at to fix whatever is causing this malfunction. To me, that's the big importance of understanding the cycle of operations. Hopefully this demonstration helped. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. Appreciate your time.